That's fine. Hi, welcome to another episode of That's the Thing Accent Core Plus R. It is episode .82, and it is Friday, July the 5th.
Or it
That
might
was
not
easy math.
be.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Also, it's
We
not
have
July.
discussed... Oh, sorry, yeah, August the 5th.
Yeah,
It's somewhere between August the 2nd and August the 5th.
yeah.
Um,
There's no there. We're flying by the seat of our pants now. It'll just be out when it's out.
a little behind the scenes, we realized there's no other regular content associated with this brand coming out besides, like,
Yeah,
the streams.
yeah. And no one cares about Magic Monday except me.
And X. X loves it.
Oh, he hates
Yeah.
it. I love it. It's great. He that's his mom life comic.
Oh,
Okay, I don't know, Kevin, you gotta tell me your fascination with these, because I read them and they're just like, they're better than Kathy, but granted, what
Okay.
isn't?
So
They're maybe... So,
I think the thing about mom life comics, the current internet meme main character of Twitter is mom life comics. You may have seen the comic, the one that's going around, where it's like the woman's like, "The last peach. I will save this for my children." And it says like her husband, what he thinks, and he goes, "Oh boy, a peach. I'll just eat it."
no, Kevin, he'll put it in his smoothie as a special
Okay.
treat.
Okay. Yeah.
I enjoy going to pick up my kids, me versus my husband, because that one's a lot funnier.
See, because it's and what I get here, and this is a lot of like subtext, and I think a lot of like, this will sound pretentious, but I will do it. A lot of people that make comics and art, I think, picked up on this, where whenever I do a comic or I did a comic or I will do it, it's usually of an event of some kind of significance that I find either absurd or like worth mockery. Like either something I'm doing, like a video game that got something silly, or something weird that happened to me that's like an exaggerated like guffaw or something. Like I made a comic about when like my car got in a wreck, or something like, or like the cat threw up, something where I'm like, yeah. But all of her comics are like of the most nothing things, which gives this impression that she just despises like her husband 24/7.
It's just a deep-seated hate,
Oh, they're like,
and this is the only way she can express it without, murdering him.
yeah, and like there's like, it feels like this is the kind of relationship that like a bunch of like moms on Twitter or like on Facebook, are like in the Facebook group where they just complain about their husbands, but not enough to like actually divorce or get, or like, they don't talk to their husband. She doesn't tell her husband like, hey, when we have like, we should probably save the last piece of fruit for the kids, or have a discussion about it. It's like she doesn't say anything, and then he does something where he considers innocuous, and then she just gets like draws like a comic, like, oh, he did it.
Do you think Dad Life knows that his wife is the one creating Mom's life?
No.
Well, I don't know, because there's some of them, like, there's one of them where it talked about, like, oh, I'm busy, and let's try to find Dad, and it's always like, Dad in the bathroom, on his phone, going out for a walk, on his phone, sitting in the car alone, on his phone. That was one of the things she put in her own comic, or this father, sometimes to get a break, he just goes to the car and sits in there and looks at like his phone. And I feel like that says a lot about the relationship.
I think it does.
She's also posted
The
like,
one I like is it was the fun dad, lazy mom when they're bringing in fast food.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're both just lazy.
No, it's not even that.
I
It's just
understand.
kids like McDonald's. They don't.
Yeah.
A kid's gonna be fine with the occasional McDonald's one.
Who's the kid that's looking at their mom going, "You're lazy"?
Yeah, like
Make
that's
me
the
some
problem is
food.
she switched the perspective of who's viewing the action. Like from the kid's perspective, it's like, oh, fun dad and fun mom. But she's like, nope, I have to like judge myself because society will.
Is the comic she posted where it's just a picture of the woman on the toilet holding her head looking miserable? Like,
Yep.
I'm like, I don't think that's just like mom things. I think that's
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm so fascinated, because you can tell like it's this parental despair and regret that's filtered through like the live, laugh, love. And that's what I find like so fascinating about mom life comics, because it's just like you could feel the misery of like, yo, these two people, they got married either too early or like everything was fine until kids came along and they got old, and now problems have really showed up.
Yeah.
I feel like
they got married because society says they're supposed to get married and not because they wanted to get married.
This may have been a oops. We got pregnant.
I don't think it was oops it got
we're
pregnant.
kind of stuck, I guess.
I think this was we were in a relationship as like 20 somethings, and we got married in our like early 20s, and it was fine. But as we transitioned to 30s and we had like 2 kids, it became like, oh no. Like
life has drastically changed.
Yeah, like this relationship is not what I started. Like I was expecting, live-in boyfriend girlfriend. It was fine. But now we are middle-aged parents, and that is not cool, and we hate this. Because there's an Instagram post of hers of like her and her husband, and all it said is like, for the love of God.
Can I interject real quick?
Yes.
The largest barrier to me from reading these is that they're on Instagram, and how impossible it is to navigate Instagram if you don't have an account.
Yeah, like I can only read like the first bit, and then I have to like read differences or whatever.
Yeah. But anyway, like you were saying, there's one of hers on Instagram.
It's like her and her husband, and they're like on it, they're like smiling, they're taking a picture of themselves, and like the caption is like, for the love of God, we're finally on a date with each other, where we can talk with each other without any kids, where we can just sit down and drink some wine and look at nothing. And you're just like, oh man.
Oh fuck. Here's a good one. There's a good one that was like, I'm excited for my birthday because it's the one day I don't have to do dishes or make lunch. And then like in Thought Bubbles, the woman like, he really doesn't think he has to be a parent on his birthday? Interesting. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, no, but mom, you're going to get the same thing on your birthday, so, that's why it's fair. Because that's what you do, but goddamn, this is psycho.
but she knows that when it comes her birthday, that'll be the offer, but she's so controlling and, like, micromanaging that, no, she's going to wind up doing all of this stuff anyway. So it's not fair that he gets to slack off the responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, because like you'll see it, and like you'll see her comic. Like this is why I wanted this conversation, because I find it fascinating, and like you can tell because every so often you'll have like the interspersed. It'll be like, I don't like this term, but I will use it. You get like the random virtue signaling comic where it's just like you'll just see like a Black Lives Matter, like randomly in her feed, and you're like, okay.
Holy shit! I'm sorry. Like I'm reading,
or like you'll get like an abortion rights now. You'll get like a random left wing cause to feels like to kind of distract. But I feel like the core is the disdain she has for being a mom and her children and husband.
Like she just hates her family unit.
She hates them.
There are so many jokes on here where it's just like, yeah, making fun of my husband. But listen, in like parentheses, I love my husband. So it's just the things that he does gets on my nerves.
And it's not.
It's just his state of existence that I hate.
Like, and you'll see like there be people that like have banter. Like I've made the banter comic that apparently got a meme about Pat and Paige. But if you watch them together, they actually like each other.
Yeah.
Like, they clearly like each other. That's not like like a seething hatred 24/7, where you're just like, oh, just like grinding your teeth down to nubs as you're just going, oh, he's doing his laundry in the morning. We do it at night. Those damn
Okay,
kids are talking to me. Why won't they bother him?
He used the wrong
really.
detergent, and now my clothes just don't feel right anymore. I'm
Now
so
they
upset
smell
about that.
wrong. He didn't put fabric softener in, so now they're kind of itchy.
He put
He did it to
one
spite
cup
me.
instead of 1.5 cups. Doesn't he know? Like, I don't know. I find it fascinating. I love the rawness of the hate. It's been rare since I've seen something that like raw, like burbling, and I think that is, to me, in conclusion, the fascination with Mom Life Comics is you get to see a raw, burbling hatred that I feel like most art does not give that sense of like, oh man. So I compared her to Am from like I Have No Mouth, because I get like the same vibe as Harlan Ellison has writing Am as this woman has of her, like her husband. Like it's the live life love equivalent of like, if hate was imprinted on every nano angstrom of my body, it would not be 1/1 billionth of the hate for you I feel. But yeah.
So, I think it was fascinating though. Like I said, Instagram makes it impossible to actually browse these comics.
Yeah.
So I went to Know Your Meme to see more of it, and like I'm just clicking through them, and there's a Patton Page comic from one realist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who uploaded this?
I did not upload that.
In there.
I do not do that. Everything I post on Twitter is usually just thrown out into the wind. Sometimes I show up in weird places. That's like my internet power. Is you'll be watching something or doing something, and then there I am. And you're like, why did this appear? Oh, it was, I don't know, that one, like, there's some like to social media a bit. There were some like weird like notifications where I was like, Neanners was liking it. I'm like, what? Why is this happening? But yeah, everyone liked my comic, and then I misspelled the word important because I realized usually what happens is I'll write a joke, and then I'll have to like resize it, or I'll rephrase it, and then I'll leave out a letter on like the typing 2. So that happens. But yeah. Is this still going?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was worried. I'm always worried that like my
No, I'm
internet has
letting
gone
you
out.
go on your
Okay.
your
Yeah.
little rant. Dude, this
But
is great.
that's we can go on to other people's stuff. So
Nolan, what have you been into?
Oh yeah, the two main things I've really been doing this week, besides of course dealing with Mom Life Comics,
Of course.
is I watched the new HBO show We Run This City, which is it's based on a true story about the Detroit no, what was it, Baltimore Gun Trace Task Force,
Oh
where they would
man.
just like steal drugs and money.
Oh, so like The Wire, like the real version.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know, the cops are the bad guys in this, like always.
Well,
It's
like the
true
real
villains.
version.
Yeah. But this show gets me for a different reason. Is because, have you ever heard a Baltimore accent before?
I probably have, but I can't place it. Like
It is the most like unthreatening accent I've ever heard in the entire world. And yet they're like cops telling people to do orders, and it's just, hey man, you need to stop doing that right now, okay?
Oh, because it's like, oh, it's because Baltimore, you get that mix of like north and south.
Look, you're under arrest, okay? Like you're gonna go to jail, right? And like, what the fuck? And it's like, well, these guys are villains and monsters, but I'm like, this is like if This is like if you took fucking Thanos and gave him like the squeakiest voice ever.
Hey, gang, it's me.
I'm like, okay. I mean, yeah, they're evil, but yeah, I can't get over this voice. Anyway, that show's great because it's
we
cop corruption.
we found some
And-
drugs in your car. Hey,
Dude,
hey, you know what?
Hey,
Maybe you should come down to the station.
hey, you should come down to the station, okay? I'm like, oh god, these are like the most unintelligent sounding people I've ever heard. If you're from Baltimore and you're listening to this, not you though.
Yeah, not
It's
you.
it's the other ones I'm talking
Not
about.
you.
Except the cops from Baltimore who are listening to this, but you.
Yes,
though.
it is you. It is you.
I don't think we're cop popular.
The show is weird because I learned so much stuff from it. Where it was like, like Baltimore's never had a mayor that hasn't been arrested for like corruption or racketeering charges in like 30 years.
Oh, that sounds great.
And it's like, oh yeah, what they do is they just go around and clear the streets off so there's not gun violence.
Yeah, then they let it gradually.
They just arrest. So what they do is they just arrest people and then let them out the next day.
Oh,
And they say, here, we're sorry we arrested you. If you sign this form saying we won't see you, we'll let you out right now. And people just go ahead and sign it. Like, that's so fucked up. Like, holy shit. A good show, though. Really interesting. But holy fuck is Baltimore just, I guess, fucked. Speaking of cops
They do
stuff,
host. They do host
ahead.
Otakon there, so I think so.
yeah.
Yeah, it's already corrupt.
Speaking of, so I went from, like the worst cops ever to what might be the best cop ever, because I started playing Disco Elysium.
That I have not consumed like any media of. I mean, you could talk about it. Like I know.
No. Listen, neither have I. So I had no idea because it was like $20 on sale. So I'm like, I've been waiting for this. I might as well grab it.
Yeah,
I didn't know what I was getting into.
It's on my list. I want to say that like it's on my list at some point. I just gotta I gotta be in the right headspace to play that game.
Holy shit, is this game great? Holy fuck, there's nothing better than being a cop and I don't know, punching a drugged out 12-year-old because they're slinging rocks at a dead corpse that you're trying to investigate.
Yeah, hobo. Like I've watched. I have watched like the first hour of it. I've seen I've seen dealing with like the child at like the dead body you're investigating.
So that's step one. Step two is now I have to learn racist theory from this large black Israelite in order to get past the door.
Isn't like one of the key points of that game like find your gun because you got too drunk.
Literally, there's a point. The whole thing is like you wake up drunk from like a binge.
A bad bender.
So someone was killed in this town. You're a police officer that's like been sent there to check it out. It's been a week and all you've been doing is partying and drinking. And so like day 7, you wake up with no memory and it's time to get to work. Everyone's like, yeah, you've been like running around with your gun out saying I'm gonna fucking kill myself because I hate my job. And then you just start drinking and doing coke. And then you ran up to your room and left.
Yeah.
You once yelled "fuck this bird" and you shot at a taxidermy bird that was hanging on the wall.
Yeah, it's
then of course ran out.
It's very similar to Planescape Torment, where Planescape Torment is like the Dungeons and Dragons where you're an immortal man who's cursed to like wake up and like without any memories of his past lives. Dude. Except this one is the more realistic take where you're like a severe drunk who wakes up without knowing what his drunken antics were.
What's great is you have to like call your police station like, hey, I lost my badge and my gun, and all they do is get on the phone and start laughing at you.
Oh,
like
that's the
five
worst.
Other officers get on the fucking radio and start like making fun of you because you're an idiot.
Oh man. It's not even they're not even like disciplining you. They're just laughing. You're that much of a failure.
That's the best part is if you do that option, you take mental damage when they start making fun of you.
Yeah. No. What build did you go with?
Oh, I like an intelligence build,
Okay.
and then I'm doing a second playthrough that's a strength build, and it's pretty fun just punching everything.
Yeah, so like the game kind of works where you build your stats, where it's like talking stats, and your skills have like dialogue options where like they'll show up as like characters. So like you'll have like one of them, I think one of them's like toxicology, which is how much you know about drugs. And it'll like show up and be like, "Hey, gang, maybe you should
Oh
do
yeah,
some drugs," or "Hey,
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy's
You
on
got like
drugs. This is what he's
you got
on."
like what was it like 24 personalities that are like inside of you. There's one that gives you like random dumb facts. There's the one that Kevin's talking about, which is like it's like I know everything about drugs, but also you need to go smoke some weed, you need to drink some alcohol, and you need to fucking snort some coke
It knows
as
everything
soon as
about
possible.
drugs because it's constantly doing drugs. And you're like, hey. There's one that's like cop knowledge, where you know
Yeah.
like cop like lingo and like behaviors, and you can be like, I know what this guy's gonna say before he says it.
There's one that's like the liar is like I can tell if people are lying, and I should tell you when you need to lie. There's also endurance, which is just like I fucking get hit. I can take any hits possible. You get punched right now because you can take it.
And the stats, I think the cool thing about it is like if you put too many points in a stat, it'll start like it'll basically take over other dialogue options because it becomes too strong.
Yeah.
So like
So
if you put too
it's
many
like a fight.
yeah, if you put too many points into punch, the punch will show up when you're trying to talk and say, "How about you just punch him? We're just gonna punch now."
I fucking love it, dude. That game's great. Holy shit! I can't wait to finish it because it just keeps getting better and better the more I play it.
There's also like instead of getting classes, you get like political ideologies.
Oh, listen! Once you unlock the fascism ideology, the game gets real fun.
You could be like hobo cop, where you go like maybe I should just be a bum.
You get boring cop, which is like you're. Oh, I get like some stat bonuses for other stuff. I love sorry cop because it increases all your like emotional abilities, but also a bunch of options get replaced with "Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Oh
Oh, I
man, that's
apologize."
good. That's good.
Oh,
Yeah, so
dude,
like
it's fucking great.
for what it basically planes it's the real quote unquote real world version of Planescape Torment. If that means anything to like probably no one. Or Planescape Torment is like the D&D version of Disco Elysium.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Oh, but that's pretty much all I've been doing. What about you, Drew? What have you been up to?
Mm, you
I see
caught me with
some.
a mouthful.
Oh no.
Well, I saw
All I
Conan.
yeah. Well, I do know both Conan and Primal are on this
Yeah,
list to talk about.
yeah. So Primal's back. Like the first two episodes came out as like a block back to back, and then episode 3 just came out. Man, that show's so good still.
Dude, episode 1 and 2 are so fire. Especially
So
episode 2.
3. 3 I think starts a little slow and it's like in an understandable situation. But then 3 goes places and you're like, "Oh man." So, but so anyway, because 1 and 2 came out and then there was no more to watch, I was like, "Well, I need something." And turned to Conan the Barbarian.
That movie's great. Drew, what is best?
To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their women.
Yeah.
And it's also like watching it, and you're just like, wow, this just influenced all of Jindy Tartakovsky, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Like I cannot point to anything single-handedly more influential on his work than that movie.
Because it's so dialogue like light. It's a very visual. Conan is a very visual movie. At least when Conan doesn't talk a lot. It's like visual, music, and sound. I remember that's like a lot of it.
And then Aku is the narrator.
Yeah.
So I've seen bits and pieces of it before. This is my first time like actually just watching it straight through.
Really? Oh,
Oh
no.
wow.
Oh, really?
You were in for a treat.
Fuck.
Conan's so good.
Yeah, it is. And they don't make
Ugh.
our movies like that anymore either.
No.
Like that's something else watching it, and it's just like this is a bygone art form.
Yeah, like I agree.
There's nothing better than the point where he finally meets up with what's the bad guy's name?
James Earl Jones.
Yeah, James Earl
James
Jones.
Earl Jones. And he's like,
to a snake.
no, when he's like talking to him about the riddle of steel.
Yep.
Fuck,
And he's
so
just like,
good.
steel is weak.
Yeah.
Flesh is real power.
I will never forget. I'll fucking never forget that. Holy shit.
No, I love when they're riding away, and like he just has the snake in his hand, and he just like tells it to seek, and then just straightens it out into an arrow and shoots it at them.
Oh man.
It's great.
Fuck.
So
did you just watch The Barbarian or did you watch The Conqueror?
So I started watching The Conqueror late last week. And it is a very different movie.
Yeah.
And then I fell asleep. And I don't think I'm gonna rewatch.
No, that's the correct choice. It's not as good as The Barbarian.
You don't need to see the remake of Conan.
Oh no, that was never
I did watch
in the
that
cards.
movie, and it was like it was eh. There was like a Rock. I think it was the Rock Hercules movie that I liked better. That I think was that because there's like I think it was either there was some like Hercules movie that was released around like the same time as the reboot of Conan. But what made it better was that in the Hercules movie, all of Hercules' attempts were like faked by like his gang or whatever. So when he would roll into town, it's like, I killed 50 men. You'd see the battle, and it was like Hercules and his like gang of 20 guys like fighting a battle. So they were trying to like fake that he was a god. And I was like, that's a good gimmick. That's a good gimmick for like your movie.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, I'm faking it. They don't know. They're like in ancient times. If I come in like saying the gods gave me this jawbone and I killed 20 men and now I have their heads, they're gonna be like, yeah, he did it.
They don't know what lying is yet.
No. We brought in like this alligator head and said the Hydra is slain. And they're like, wow. We don't know what that is? That's wild.
Yeah, they've never seen alligators before.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Conan's good.
It's great.
I also saw you saw John Wick 3. What'd you think of that?
I didn't like it as much as the first two.
I agree. I think my problem with John Wick 2 and 3 is that like nothing. So a lot of cool fights happen, but like the plot does not progress. Like John Wick is at the same point at the beginning and end of each of those movies.
Yeah.
Or it's like the hunt begins, and then the hunt gets delayed, and then at the end they're like the hunt begins. It's like no.
Yeah, like
none of that mattered.
It didn't. Yeah, like it's nothing. And like I really did not like the sushi chef guy. Like I don't know what they thought really his character.
John Wick.
Yeah, like I don't know what they thought his character was supposed to be doing, but it wasn't doing it.
It says something like John Wick and 2 and 3 just merged together for me. I can't tell you which one is which.
I'm trying to remember. John Wick 2, I completely forget most of John Wick 2 because it's about like him getting a contract from some other guy.
Yeah, and then he kills him in the hotel or whatever.
Yeah, I don't care about that
Continental.
One. Yeah.
So I like 2 more than 3.
Oh, see, I'll have to go against you on that one because I like 3 more than 2. Because I remember more of 3 than I do of 2.
That is a fair assessment. I will say that
Yep.
is completely fair. If you're like,
Which all I remember is the dog fight with Halle Berry.
I did like the dogs.
Okay, the dogs just keep biting people in the dick.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
No duh. How else would you train them?
If it's like it's the rage thing of like, if you're going to go into a fight, you take them out. In the raid, they don't do like the fancy kung fu. It's like, I'm going to stab you in the groin and punch out your knees. That's all my techniques. Yeah. Like, yeah, that's gonna take you down. The Rottweiler to the junk. You're not coming back from that.
Yeah, it's that fight. Then where he goes in the desert and he has to chop his finger off in front of the leader of the assassins.
Yeah. The Assassin's Creed, where it turns into that for like an hour, like 20 minutes.
Like, I think that's the problem too with 2 and 3 is like, okay, I still like the choreography, but like, it's just John Wick 1 again. Like, they didn't evolve it or change it any.
Yeah.
Like, it's
story, like there's no story to it.
The written story of John Wick 1 is very important, even though it's incredibly simple. Like, it's like the story in a pornographic film, you know? It doesn't have to be...
I don't know.
It doesn't have to be really good, but some context really improves the proceedings. Yeah. Like a little bit of context, and you're like, okay. I feel like that's the same with John Wick. Like, the basic revenge plot line with the really, really good action, like, elevates them both. When you just have really, really good action and kind of a nothing plot, it's just like, I don't know.
But, okay, so, like, I think the plot is enough in 2 and 3 for what they're doing. My problem is just, like, the choreography itself didn't evolve any. Like, these are the sequels. Like, you need to... Like, adding the dogs did something, but then, like, it still just turned into the same of, like, oh, the dog bites the guy, and then the guy gets shot.
John Wick's gonna shoot a guy, like, 20 times, and then, like, shoot him again.
No, he's gonna shoot them, like, once to incapacitate them, and then shoot them in the head.
He's gonna be like, pop, 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 pop. And he's gonna do that every time.
And so, like, they tried to, like, do stuff with, like, introducing dogs into the fight, or introducing the like bulletproof SWAT team, but it didn't really change things. It just
like the subway, where they're just shooting silence pistols at each other. I like that scene.
And like, I feel like I don't know.
No, it's fair.
I don't know. I don't think him and Conan shooting each other was too great either, though.
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm glad you're now excited for John Wick 4 when it finally releases.
Oh, God. They put out the trailer.
Yeah.
In other action movie news, because I just thought of it, I watched the Netflix action movie The Gray Man that a lot of people are saying is terrible, and it's fine. Like,
that's what everything I heard is just it's middling.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I would put it in like the Saturday action movie I watched with my dad. It's fine. I didn't think it was spectacular, but it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not bad. That's what I mean. Some people say like, oh, it's terrible. It's like, oh.
I do think the most interesting part of John Wick 3 are not John Wick, but like Lawrence Fishburne and the owner of the Continentals moves.
Oh man, Lawrence Fishburne rules.
I do like that he just shoots him. It's not part of a con. It's not part of like a scheme of like, oh, we're gonna stick it to him, John, the long game. No, it's like, okay, John, you got the Continental back for me. Thanks, bye. And I like Lawrence Fishburne. It's like, no, screw him.
I'm doing my own thing.
Gonna murder him. Yep.
I'm gonna use your John Wick to kill them all. Because they want to kill you.
making a new table with blackjack and hookers.
The first time, like John Wick's like, the Assassin King's like, all right, go kill this guy. Okay. Stops in front of him. Hey, John Wick, don't kill me and help me out. Okay.
We'll
And then-
kill him together, John.
And then immediately gets shot
Mm-hmm.
after he does all that. Like, John.
He's like, thanks, John. Bye.
Yeah.
It's also like the moment of hesitation where like he looks at him and he's just like, trust me, John, trust me. And then he just shoots him. Guys are like, oh man, what's about to happen? They're like friends. What's gonna happen? It's like, oh man.
No, his only real friend was Lance Riddick.
Yep.
Did it also bother anyone else that like in John Wick 3 we didn't introduce Carrie-Anne Moss, so we have like all the Matrix the Matrix trio? It's like the first one's Keanu, the second one Lawrence Fishburne shows up, and you're like, yeah, she would show up in number 3. So now
No, she's going to be like the big boss though.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So,
She's like the
So,
assassin
I think-
queen or whatever. That actually,
Yeah.
I'd be down with that.
I think the problem that happened is COVID and Matrix 4.
Oh,
Otherwise, I think she would. I think Halle Berry would have been Trinity.
okay, that makes way more sense, honestly.
Yes.
Like I'm gonna believe that conspiracy.
Right? That's some bullshit, but I believe it.
Yep. Because that would be something that the people John Wick would do. Because that's something like I would do if plausible. I'm like, yeah,
Right?
of course he's gonna team up with Trinity.
Of course.
That's what this movie is. It's just fan wanking to action movies.
It's going to end with Morpheus, Trinity, and Neo fighting the League of Assassins.
Yeah, and then Hugo Weaving's gonna be like the king of the assassins, and he's gonna fight him in like number 4.
Mr. Wick.
But he's gonna be like the elf man.
He's gonna be their number 1 assassin who's like a rabid dog on a leash. So it's like, uh-oh, we maybe need John Wick to put him down.
He's gonna be the Mad Dog. It's not Mad Dog from The Ring. You think it's gonna be him, and then it turns out it's just Hugo Weaving. Mr. Anderson.
Oh, man.
Mr.
Oh no, you make him like
Mr. Wick.
Mr. You make him like that
Mr.
boss in
Baba.
Bloodborne, where like he's a beast, but then halfway through the fight he like stands up and he like becomes a man.
Father, whatever.
Yeah,
Father Christone.
yeah. Oh god, what was it?
Father Chris.
It was
Chris-
Ludwig the Holy Blade and Ludwig
yeah.
the Cursed. We're like halfway through the
Oh,
fight.
sorry. I thought you meant the opposite of Ludwig.
Where he goes
I thought
human
you meant
and
the
then he
first
goes-
one.
No, he's a beast, and then fighting John Wick makes him become a man.
But so then he has to see the fight to the end out of his honor.
Yeah, because he's a man now.
There you are, Mr. Wick.
Mr.
You're with me all along.
My
My
guiding,
guiding
moonlight.
moonlight.
Yeah.
Do you guys like Matrix 4? Because I
didn't
liked
watch
it.
So I've just watched it for the first time, and I've only finished half of it. It's okay. I like the idea it's going for. It's okay so far.
Yep.
I'm glad it's something like they weren't just doing the same thing of Neo, you're in the Matrix again.
You're in
It's
the
now
double
like-
Matrix.
Yeah. There's like layers to it, and now like Morpheus is dead, and now there's a new Morpheus, but it's not Morpheus. It's a program created by Neo that's supposed to be his idea of Morpheus.
Man, I really thought that was cool that they took an artificial intelligence from a game inside the Matrix and then extrapolated it out into the Matrix.
Yes.
I think that's a super cool idea.
I look at this, I'm like, that's neat. I like that idea. Cool. Let me see what else you got. And then so far it's been like, eh. I
Yeah.
got to the part where the what's his name? The Machiavellian
Yeah,
came back. I'm
yeah.
like, eh. I don't care about this that much. Let's keep this moving. And now it's like, there's new Agent Smith 2.0.
Yeah, I think that's funny that like, no, Neo, we also brainwashed him into being in the Matrix.
I watched a lot of Beyblade videos.
Okay, how much did you watch?
Okay, so
Listen,
like,
once they turned the bays into CG, I stopped.
okay, so like I
Just
watched people doing Beyblade videos, and I thought those were interesting on like an engineering standpoint.
Oh, hold
Of
on.
what,
Let's take a step back.
okay.
What got you into wanting to watch the Beyblade videos?
Wooly retweeting the intro of Beyblade Burst Surge, which is more
God
slick than it
damn.
has any right to be.
It's so good.
I was watching that, I'm like, oh man. Like, what's been happening with Beyblade? I watched like the first episode of like Beyblade Surge. It's okay.
yeah.
I think it has problem of like shonen. It's like main character is really talented at Beyblade, where there's like no talent in Beyblade. But then there kind of is talent in Beyblade.
Please, do you not remember the time that the blonde kid had to launch his bay backwards? So when Kai did the blazing comet on top of it, it would then slow down to a stop and then steal the momentum from his bay.
That is a thing.
That's talent. That's the kind of Beyblade they don't teach you in Beyblade school.
Like, that's what's kind of fascinating about Lock, is that there are gimmicks that are like there is some degree of skill to Beyblade. It's like, it reminds me of like your hyper tuning to get like a 0.5% win increase.
Yeah.
Like, listen, like I got this one top, and if I launch it facing diagonal, it'll go along the rim and hit yours like separately, and that means I'll win 50.3% of time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that's fascinating from like an engineering standpoint of like what makes a good Beyblade. But yeah.
Do you know what like the worst Beyblade, like physically made Beyblade from the show was?
I
Was
watched
it the weird frog one?
So like it was the American baseball players Beyblade. And so if you're unfamiliar, in the show he would chuck a baseball really fast, and that was the launcher that would unfurl and roll. But that is not what the real world one did. The real world one was like a double-tiered Beyblade. So it had a lower ring that did all of the work, and then an upper ring that never actually touched the other Beyblade because it was too tall. But the real crappy part about it was spring-loaded.
Ooh.
So every time before the match start, you stick the base of it in and then lock it in place with that, like, the bottom attack ring. And whenever it hit the opponent's Beyblade just right, it would unlock the spring and it would jump.
That sounds great.
Sometimes it just jumped as soon as you launched it because the impact on the ground was hard enough for it to just jump. Just unlock it. But listen, when it tells you in the rules not to lean your head over the Bay Stadium during Beyblade battles, that's why.
That was some of the YouTube videos I watched were stuff where they're like, we got an engineering guy to make a launcher that launches these things at like 40,000 RPMs.
Oh yeah.
And then one of them was like, we did that, and then we made them out of metal. This is dangerous. Do not do it. And they would just like instantly just explode. I'm like, Beyblades are cool.
I need to watch that video.
Yeah, it's kind of, it was like, it's the proper time is like right before bed. You stayed up a little too late past your bedtime. Then you can start watching Beyblade videos. It's optimal. But yeah, that's been what's up. I've still been playing a lot of multiverses. Velma's like really good. Like, I don't get the rain. Yeah, you played some multiverses, Drew. What do you think about it?
I think it not having tilt attacks and it not having a shield hurted. But also, so like after I played with you, last night I went in and started messing with like the controller settings. And there's a lot of weird settings you can do. Like you can flip neutral attack and forward tilt. So like when you just mash attack, it'll just do
your
like
combo,
1, 2,
and then
3.
your forward is your thing.
Yeah, it's more like a forward smash attack. But then when you're running, of course, you have to like mash R1. Also, okay, it does the thing right where it says, okay, this action, what buttons do you want this to be? Like Marvel 3 is the only other game I've actively played where like that was the choice and not just like, nope, it's 1-to-1. Each action gets one button. And it is so nice to be able to be like, but no, I want overlap. I want multiple buttons to do the same thing because there's different situations.
Yep.
What else? There's other weird things you can. Oh, they have like you can adjust the dead zone on your X and Y axes for your joystick.
Yeah,
because I kept every time I did down Bs, I'd turn around. Didn't matter which way I was facing, I always down B'd the wrong way. But it's fine. I don't know. Unless you want someone to play it with on stream, like an actual human being and not just random hope. I don't think I'm going to play it by myself that much.
Yo, that's fun. But I think that for that game is actually like an endorsement because of its model. Like to me, that shows that they chose correctly with like the payment model of like, yeah, I can try this out, because to me that still gives like a good impression of it. Like from what I have not heard bad impressions of that game, mainly because it's like, yeah, but I didn't pay for it, so it's fine. I think that's
pretty much what it is.
Like there's no ill will towards multiverses because even it's like, well, I didn't buy it.
And even then I'm like, if I want to mess with it more, I can't just do training mode or whatever and literally touch every character and see which ones I like before I buy anyone.
Yeah. Like I think it's good. It's probably gonna be like my currently, I think Multiverses might be my third game of the year.
There's the Student Center, Testing Center. Yes. Unfortunately, I don't, but the Welcome Center is this one right here, and they should be able to tell you.
Yeah. No, like I have it downloaded. I still haven't touched it yet. Oh. I've been busy with
you've
Disco.
Been playing others. Yeah, like I feel like I'm also getting to the point. It's really weird. This will be like the ending where like I'm losing things and it makes me feel really old. Or like I can't keep up with anything anymore.
There's too much because I still want to play Stray. On top of this.
Oh, I am still reading Chainsaw Man. Apparently, I didn't recognize the guy who was the octopus guy who was part of the crew.
Oh.
Because like everyone in the assassin arc is a blur. I'm gonna myth.
Yeah. It's really quick, and there's also like a missing chapter.
Yeah.
Because of some not safe from work.
Yeah. But like, there's some stuff where I'm like, everyone there, like my brain, like I can't handle.
Whether it's Stone Guy or other Fox guy or Octopus guy.
Yeah. So like, I didn't recognize them when they showed up. I still like where we're going. I like that Chainsaw Man has not shown up yet. I think that's great. I kind of hope he does it for the first entire arc.
I almost want him to just be like the final boss of the
whole thing.
Of this section, yeah. Of this is just like her story, and the focus is entirely on her, and that's her final boss.
Is she's gonna be in some kind of fight? It's gonna be going really bad or something, and then Dingy's just gonna be there and saying like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like just nonchalantly walks in. I feel like that's gonna happen.
I saw someone posted this, and I really hope it's what happens. Which is, she looks at Dingy and goes, "Oh my God, he's so hot."
I think that would be great.
That would be good.
All right, I gotta go.
All right, thanks for talking. Have a good one. Later days.
Yep, later
Bye.
days.